The Old Man of the Mountain, Hasan-ben-Sabah, was the founder of the secret order of the Islamic Assassins in northern Persia in the late 11th century AD. Hassan's residence was in a mountain fortress named Alamut, which he seized control of in 1090 AD. Hassan's devotees became known as the Assassins, or Hashashins, because of their addiction to the drug hashish. The following is an account by Marco Polo, who heard of their fame from diverse peoples during his travels. We shall now tell of the Old Man of the Mountain. In a beautiful valley, enclosed between two lofty mountains, he had built a luxurious garden, stored with every delicious fruit and fragrant shrub that could be procured. Palaces of various sizes and forms were erected in different parts of the grounds, ornamented with works in gold, with paintings, and with furnishings of rich silks. By means of small conduits in these buildings, streams of wine, milk, and honey, and some of pure water were seen to flow in every direction. The inhabitants of these palaces were dainty and beautiful damsels, accomplished in the arts of singing, playing upon all sorts of musical instruments, dancing, and especially amorous dalliance. Clothed in rich dresses, they were seen continually sporting and amusing themselves in the garden and pavilions, their female guardians being confined within doors and never allowed to appear. The subject which the chief had in view in forming a garden of this fascinating kind was this, that Mohammed promised those who obeyed his will the enjoyments of paradise, where every kind of sensual gratification would be found, among a society of beautiful nymphs. Hassan wanted it understood by his followers that he also was a prophet, and, like Mohammed, had the power of admitting to paradise such as he should choose to favor. In order that no one might find his way into this delicious valley without his permission, Hassan caused a strong and impregnable castle to be erected, through which the entry was by a secret passage. At his court, moreover, this chief entertained a number of youths from the age of 12 to 20 years, selected from the inhabitants of the surrounding mountains, who showed a warlike disposition and appearing to possess the quality of daring courage. To them he was in the daily practice of conversing on the paradise announced by the prophet, and of his own power of granting admission to it. At certain times he caused opium to be administered to a dozen or so of the youths, and when they were unconscious he had them conveyed into the many apartments of the palaces in the garden. Upon awakening from the state of stupor, their senses were struck with all the delightful objects that have been described. Each saw himself surrounded by lovely damsels, singing, playing, and captivating him with the most delightful caresses, serving him also with delicate foods and exquisite wines, until intoxicated with excessive enjoyment, amidst rivers of milk and wine, he believed himself assuredly in paradise, and unwilling to relinquish its delights. When 4 or 5 days had thus been passed, they were thrown once more into a drugged state and carried out of the garden. Upon their being brought into Hassan's presence and questioned by him as to where they had been, their answer was, "In paradise, through the favor of your highness." And then before the whole court, who listened with curiosity and astonishment, they gave a circumstantial account of the scenes they had witnessed. The chief thereupon addressing them said, "We have the assurances of our prophet that he who defends his Lord shall inherit paradise, and if you show yourselves devoted to obeying my orders, that happy lot awaits you." Aroused with enthusiasm by these words, all considered themselves blessed to receive the commands of their master, and were ready to die in his service. The consequence of this system was that when any of the neighboring princes or others offended Hassan, they were put to death by his disciplined assassins, none of whom felt terror at the risk of losing their own lives, which they held in little esteem, provided they could execute their master's will. On this account, his tyranny became a matter of dread in all the surrounding countries. Hassan also dispatched 2 deputies to represent himself. One was placed in the vicinity of Damascus, and the other in Kurdistan, and these pursued the plan he had established for training their young devotees. Thus there was no one, however powerful, who, having been exposed to the fierceness of the Old Man of the Mountain, could escape assassination. The end of the assassins and their mountain stronghold of Alamut came from a Mongol invasion. The Mongol Hulagu, the brother of the great Khan Mongi, learned of the atrocious practices of the assassins, and in 1252 sent one of his armies to besiege their castle. However, Alamut was built so strongly that for 3 years no impression could be made upon it, until at length the last successor of Hassan had to surrender from want of provisions, and being made prisoner, was put to death. Alamut was dismantled, and the Garden of Paradise was destroyed. However, a remnant of the sect, called the Ismailis, has survived into modern times. Its leader today is the Aga Khan. This has been a video by Dionysios. Thanks for stopping by, and never give up.